So we're continuing our Steven Spielberg series today with another kind of sci-fi movie. And I didn't realize that, like, he's kind of going on this sci-fi thing. He went on, like, a huge historical thing where he did, like, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, war movies, historical movies. And now it kind of feels like we're going into the future, because last week we had AI, artificial intelligence, and now we're doing Minority Report. And I just feel like it's interesting to see the kind of phases he's going through. And it's cool watching these in order. I will say, like, that's one of my favorite things about this channel is, like, I watch things in order of when they came out. That makes it really fun for me. So today we're talking about Minority Report. Minority Report was released in 2002. It was written by Scott Frank and John Cohen and directed by Steven Spielberg. Now, this movie is better, in my opinion, than AI, artificial intelligence. No spoilers, but the general idea is it is about Tom Cruise's character, John Anderton, not to be confused with The Matrix's Mr. Anderson, which is very confusing in this movie, not gonna lie. And essentially, what happens is crime is foreseeable. We can now detect the future in terms of murder, but murder only. So whenever somebody's gonna die, Tom Cruise finds out about it, and he goes to arrest the murderer before the murder happens. I'm not going to get into the whole politic things about that because it doesn't really matter, but I found that really cool and hard to kind of struggle with what I thought about it myself. I'm not going to talk about what I thought about it myself because it doesn't matter, but anyway, I will say that is a minor distraction from the movie while you're watching it, but it was a cool distraction, so I'm willing to let it slide. Now, the special effects, of course, I should talk about, are brilliant. They're super cool. They're incredible, particularly for literally 2002. I mean, holy crap. The car scene is incredible. I'm like, whoa. I'm like actually freaking out about it. It's so cool. There's a lot of really, really cool elements of this film that make it a really cool sci-fi film. Like, it's a sci-fi futuristic film, of course, and we've seen so many of these by now, but this one feels special. It feels like it deserves a spot on the shelf. It does, right? There's so many moments in this film where I'm like, whoa, like I dig this world. I'm in it. And that's the thing about sci-fi that doesn't drag me into it. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, mainly because I feel like I can't get dragged into this world that they're trying to present to me. Because there's a whole lot of lore to learn. But when a sci-fi film can set itself up in terms of here are the rules, we don't break them, this is exactly what it is, right? That's kind of why I liked the new Dune movie, which I just got on Blu-ray today. I liked that movie a whole lot, mainly because it walked you through everything you needed to know, and that's it. It's like, all right, now we can actually start the story. Minority Report feels the same way. They had about a 20-minute segment where they were like, hey, this is how it works. That's it. Moving on to the actual plot. And that's why I like some certain sci-fi movies, but it's not my favorite genre by far. This one does it very well because the opening scene is him going to arrest somebody who's going to murder somebody in the future. And it works so well. It really does. I like it a lot. I'm impressed with how they set that up. That's mainly going to be props to Scott Frank and John Cohen. I like Colin Farrell in this a lot as well. He plays Danny. He's kind of the villain. And he's the villain because we like Tom Cruise. He's not actually a bad guy. He just seems like a bad guy because he wants Tom Cruise's job. That's basically it. But the main storyline here is they get a foretelling of the future where Tom Cruise sees that he's going to murder someone. And Colin Farrell's character finds out about it, and Tom Cruise assumes that he's being set up by Danny. And so he is going on the run, trying to figure out how to find the Minority Report, which is a small glimpse in the future that might tell something that isn't necessarily going to be him shooting someone. So it's complicated, and I can't get into it too deep because spoilers. But I thought it was really cool. It's a complex plot line, it's a complex story, but they present it in a way that is palatable and easy to understand, which I appreciated. But they didn't treat their audience like they were stupid either, because there's a lot of really difficult to understand things. Like, I'm like, whoa, like there's these aliens that come by and they can kind of see if you're really you or not, so he has to cut out his eyeballs. And I will say that took a little bit of time. It took like half an hour to do that, and I thought that was kind of frustrating because we didn't really need that, but we had to because of the lore. which is why I'm concerned about whether or not we should have done it or not, right? Like, we got to this part where I'm like, okay, I get why he's doing this, but if we get rid of the robots that can detect your eyeballs, we didn't have to do this whole tangent. It was cool, but it wasn't needed, and that is a pretty big negative for me, because it is 2.5 hours long, and it did not need to be that long, but it's a good movie nonetheless. I think that the pacing works. It's long. Like, a well-paced movie can still be very long. I don't think the problem is the pacing. I think the problem is it's just a little bit too long. And that's probably what I would cut. I'd probably cut the whole eyeball thing, mainly because it's long, and yes, it makes sense, but they can cut parts out of the lore to make it make sense within its own lore. Like, the problem is it's stuck in its own lore when it didn't need to be. It's complicated, but that's my overall thought on that part of the film. The performances were solid. The directing is smooth. The directing is very good. I will say that it does not feel like a Spielberg movie for the most part. It's a really weird sci-fi film, which is not what I've associated Spielberg with for a while. So I gotta adapt to that. The ending is cool. There's a really cool twist that I really liked, and I didn't really see coming. So that was nice. It was a good little like, whoa, hey. Cool. So that was really, I appreciated that a whole lot. So I'm excited to see what Spielberg has next, but I'm going to go ahead and give Minority Report an A-. Have you guys seen Minority Report? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about it. I don't know where you can check it out. It was on Netflix at the time of watching, and at the time of filming, but when this video actually comes out, it will be off of Netflix, so I assume it is going somewhere else. Feel free to Google it if you'd like, but you can find it somewhere. I'm sure you can. But yeah, it's definitely not my favorite Spielberg film, but it's a cool one. It's certainly a different one, which is refreshing for me, because AI Artificial Intelligence was a good sci-fi film, but not a very good overall film, whereas this one felt like it was more of a complete unit, so I appreciated that a whole lot. And you know what else I'd also appreciate? If you could just go ahead and hit that red button that says subscribe, I would be eternally grateful. It helps me out a whole lot. We're really climbing. We're almost at like 250 at this point, so please consider subscribing, because it really is a huge, huge help. And as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.